All right, let's talk about this weather forecast, Mr. Jason. For the weekend, you can't help but feel the humidity, but we still are, getting some hazy sunshine out there at least.
We are. I think I picked a really rough day to wear a black suit today because it is very tropical-like out there. Anybody that is going to be exercising today or maybe going for a walk, taking the dog out, dress lightly, okay? So let's talk about the forecast for the weekend. Rain developing overnight tonight and likely lasting through the early hours for our Saturday. Why is this all happening? Well, yet another cold front is coming through, as Russ Mitchell liked to say, a cool front arriving. Front will be exiting across the region mid-morning hours for us tomorrow. However, there are likely still going to be some rain lingering over towards the east with breezy winds following in. By Marathon Sunday, we're likely going to have stable conditions, sunny conditions, and even warm conditions returning into the mix. So for the rest of the evening into the overnight hours, humidity and also a little bit of rain riding right along into the region will likely persist. Cloud cover also increasing for the later hours tonight into the early hours for us on Saturday. Look at our color palette. Filling in across the region with periods of heavy rain arriving overnight tonight through that 4 a.m. to likely 8 a.m. time frame. Here's our frontal boundary right now. We are causing some activity to linger into the central plains, stretching all the way up towards the north and southern Canada. Storm threat is likely in the central and high plains down towards the Lone Star State. That Arklatex region will likely still be dealing with some marginal to slight risk activity as far as storms are concerned. Also an area low off the Carolina coast. We'll be riding along the I-95 corridor into New England by the time we get to Saturday with coastal winds already prevalent there with record heat likely persisting in the Pacific North and also west. Look at our area right now. Widespread 70s across the region, even over towards the north and west. Low 80s right now. Elyria at 80 degrees. That soupy air mass, pea soup out there. Yuck. South winds 10 to 15 miles per hour, keeping that breeze across the area. But as I said before, starting out with this forecast, we are tracking rain. So let's roll the clock forward here in your National Design Mart forecast. Some breaks in the clouds later this afternoon into the evening hours before we start to fill back in. Once we get into the overnight hours, yes, we're likely to have some heavy rains, periods of that, as well as the likelihood of maybe even some rumbles. 6, 7 a.m. We're pushing this thing on out of here. Some lingering rain in towards the east, mid to late morning hours. You can see there. Once we get into the afternoon, a few clouds still billowing on in, and then we're likely going to clear things out once we get into our Saturday afternoon, even into the evening. Plan out the rest of your weekend into early next week in your Union Home Mortgage 7 a outlook. Look at this, upper 70s and low 80s with a mix of sun and clouds. More coming up after this.